Hi everyone, it's Lisa Marie from Artistry by Lisa Marie, and I am going to continue coloring my bunny coloring page. Started this the other day, thought I would continue. The little challenge I set for myself for coloring this coloring page this time around is I'm using this color, Mulberry, in every element of my coloring page. So in the berries, in the leaves, in the ribbon, in the bunny, I'm trying to use this color in every single element of this drawing. I thought it'd be kind of a fun challenge. It's a color I don't use very frequently. And it's interesting how just using this one color, can drastically affect all the other colors that I'm using in terms of, the colors blending with it, how the other colors look next to it. It's kind of fun. Just sort of a neat experiment in color theory. So right now I'm just taking my mulberry and I'm just sort of laying it down right now as an under layer of color in the shading. So I'm using it kind of as a base color or an underpainting. For this ribbon that I drew on my Christmas bunny. And it's also kind of nice doing this, blocking out the shadows. I mean, I drew the coloring page a couple days ago, but it's good to go back and get kind of a sense or a reminder of where the shadows are, where the light's coming from. I can make mental notes of what the drawing looks like. Blocking out the shadows is often very, very helpful when coloring a grayscale coloring page. And it can help things go a little bit faster too. You don't have to keep stopping and going, what's happening next? Because you've just reviewed, every element of this particular part of the drawing while going over and blocking out shadows. Make sure I get right in there. I drew lines on this particular ribbon because I'm a huge fan of, if you ever heard of it, pop art. And lines are just fantastic for making art kind of look like it pops off a page. Helps give it that three-dimensional look. And I enjoy anything that helps art look a little more three-dimensional, a touch of realism. I always think that's kind of fun. And you might hear my phone ding today. I usually have it on mute, so it's not bothering, you know, any of this. My kids are at playgroup, and one of them was being a little finicky this morning. So I have my phone on in case I have to, you know, go into mom mode, rush over, get them. I'm always on duty as a mom. All right, so next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go every other line with this particular shade of purple. But I have my mulberry blocking out my shadow, so what I'm gonna do is just blend this particular purple right over it. So grayscale, you know, it's dark, medium, light. My mulberry was basically my starting point for dark. And I just colored that in. Typical, right? It's because I'm busy looking at my phone and talking to you guys. Luckily, this is also a good point to say, don't go too dark too fast. Look at that. Gone. So that way, you can always do that. Especially when you're first blocking in colors, it's, I think, good to not go too dark too fast. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Like it never happened. That's the knot, but we're still going to go every other. So it would be this one, and that guy. Make that red, so we'll make this purple. Just make sure I get every other one here. And then this can be the purple. I tried to plan out my palettes the night before. Purple, purple, red, purple. So this would be red, so this is purple. And it's been kind of fun, you know, thinking ahead and planning this around, you know, using the same color as the base color for everything, the mulberry. It's been kind of a fun exercise. Purple, purple, so I'll make that. I'll make this one purple. Just laying down my colors. Purple, red, purple. When I have elements overlapping, I try to pause and imagine what would be, you know, what's going on behind certain parts of a drawing. This would be red, this would be purple. Especially if it's a busier composition. I think it's good to go slow sometimes. Keep track of what I'm doing. Purple. More. Red, red. Make this purple. Red, the line would be there, so this would be purple. Red. Let's see. Red, probably stop there. Purple would start there. So this would be purple. Trying to turn my inner monologue into an outer monologue so you guys can hear how I think through coloring. And then purple. And over here, so this is purple, this is red. Make this purple. We're going to pull this over just for visual continuity and make that purple. Okay, fun times. Let's see here. So dark, medium, and then I'm going to do this for light. I think I want to do this actually. That is one of the drawbacks to when I'm planning the night before. I kind of remember what I was thinking of. So I had a dark, medium, and now I have a lighter color. And I'm just trying to work up these particular stripes first. Kind of like keeping track of my work. And I'm just blending them all together on the paper, all my colors. It's part of what's making this so fun with the mulberry. Figuring out how one color is blending with all these other colors. I'm actually really enjoying it. And it is a color I don't use very frequently. Mulberry is not often in my palette. It's just not a color I naturally gravitate towards. And I think a lot of artists, a lot of colorists do that. You know, there's colors that you just naturally go to. You have the fallback colors that you use. And you know what they look like. You know how they blend with other colors. They're your go-to colors. And I think it's kind of a fun challenge to resist that natural urge sometimes as an artist. And push yourself to use a different palette. I mean, it could totally not work. That's always a possibility. But that's part of the fun of experimenting. Let's see, this is purple, so this is purple. Look at that. All right, and I can go back now. And grayscale is, in many ways for me, cyclical, so I go around and around. I did dark, medium, light. Now I can go back and build up a little bit more dark. A little dark in there too. Trying to get my shadows. Really want to make sure I have some good shadows going on here. That's gonna be light. That's gonna be light. This is where the shadow starts, right there. And this mulberry is definitely affecting, I mean, if you look, I mean, everything. It affects the way, you know, I blended it with the dark green. It's affecting the berries. It's definitely giving this palette a certain look. Go. This part of the drawing is a bit of a busier part of this drawing with the stripes and the branches and the leaves and everything going on here. And that's all the more reason why it's good to occasionally slow down, pause, look. Make sure you have a good grasp on shading. Busy compositions are fun, but it's easy to kind of, you know, get lost in them. Just really want to make sure I get the shading in this area really mapped out a little bit. There we go. And with the movement that we have going on between the twirling ribbon, you know, the branches reaching across that way, you know, it can make it a bit busy. Come on, get in there. You know, even these leaves, you know, they're not they're not smooth swooping leaves. They've got all these little sharp tips, which again, visually it's fantastic. It's so fun, but it can make the composition a little busy when you're trying to color it in and keep track of all the lighting. So it's okay to go slow. Pause, reflect. All right, go back again with the purple, my medium. And the medium hue, medium tone, medium color, it's the bridge. It connects the shadows with the highlights. So it can go right over the shadow areas. It can go, you know, into the highlighted or lighter areas. It connects it all together. I am going to be pushing this a little bit darker, I think, the shadows and the ribbon, but first things first. Trying to not mentally jump too far ahead here. I get that? Does that look good? Yeah, looks good. If you saw me coloring the first part of this coloring page, you'll notice the lighting's a little different. I went back, I was looking at the video, and I realized I had this huge glare on the top part of the page. And I thought, how annoying is that? I was very annoyed when I realized I had a glare on the top of the page. That's something else, you know, you got to think about. Sometimes, you know, it's like lighting. Because light can affect color. You know, warm light will make your colors look warmer. Cool light makes your colors look cooler. Direct sunlight will make everything shiny. And I thought I had my lighting set okay, but apparently not. Almost there. I really like, let me make that a little darker, indirect sunshine for lighting. But the problem with that is it's very temporary. I mean, you can't stop the sun from moving. So what I often do is I have hue lamps, you know, lights where I can control the color. And I have them, you know, I've tweaked them so they mimic, you know, that indirect sun look. Alright, I'm going to go back with the lighter color. And again, we're just, so that middle color was the bridge. And now we're sort of topping off that highlight, those highlighted areas. Let's see, how's that looking? Yeah. If I really want to push a certain highlighted area, I'll go back with the white, you know, to really push the lightness. But it gets some nice rich color. First I'll stick with you know, the color scheme, the color palette that I've got going on here. White and also black, like the solid black color pencils. They're great for really pushing, you know, highlights and shadows, but they also tend to, you know, kind of steal away the beauty and the richness of the other colors. So I don't really use, you know, black too much, especially black, because it really makes a dark matte effect, which can be fun for certain things, but I'm actually a huge fan of this color over here. It's an indigo blue if I really want to push my shadows. Or violet, or just, you know, using some of the darker colors that I have available to me. Black and white are kind of a last resort. Okay, let's pause. See how that's going. Okay. Next, I wanted to do, so again, have my mulberry blocking out my shadows for the other stripes as well. I'm gonna use this guy. Oh yeah. Now we saw how the purple blended with the mulberry, and now I'm going with a red. And red is a color that can definitely steal a show. So I try to not be too... I don't like the way I sharpen this pencil. Typical, right? Right in the middle of doing all this. I don't like the way I did that. I'm gonna start over. Here we go. Yeah. That's a better tip. Of course, now I've got pencil shavings all over myself. Come on. We don't need red on the leaf. Thank you. All right, let's try this again. So, like I was saying, red can steal the show. So I'm gonna try to go a little bit slower with the red. And by slower, I mean I'm not gonna press down as hard on the paper. I don't want to fill up all the tooth with just red. I want to make sure there's enough room, you know, for highlights, for more shadows. That goes back to the whole don't go too dark too fast rule. See, even here, I'll fill it in a bit, but I'm not really pressing down a lot. I'm going to try and leave myself a little bit of wiggle room. Continuing that shadow line I've got right there in the ribbon between all the stripes. And lighter as I move away from the shadow. See if I can make that a little more crisp right there. Shadow line here as well. And that goes back to, you know, blocking out your shadows, making sure you're consistent with your lighting and shading. It's a busy area. I love this line, this movement in ribbon as well. Again, personal preferences, just something I really enjoy to color, something I really enjoy to draw. I love drawing that flowing movement. There we go. Go back to this guy up here. These branches don't give me much wiggle room. There we go. Almost there. Want to make sure I get it nice and dark right underneath the bunny's chin here, because, you know, naturally with the light coming from this direction, there would be shadow right there underneath the bunny's chin, jawline. Getting some nice rich shadow or darker areas by mixing the mulberry with the red. Very nice. Nice. Okay. And use that shade I'm wondering if I should be consistent. I might want to be consistent. I don't know what happens when I don't. Yeah, I think I want to be consistent. So many options. But I want a nice tip if I'm going to be using this again. Hold, please. So, I was thinking of using that, which is why I pulled it out. I used the same shade of light that I used in these other striped areas, but now, instead of mixing with that light purple, it's mixing with a more striking red. So the stripe effect is going to be a little more subtle. Because I'll be using two of the same colors, the mulberry and the lighter pink. But because the mid-tone is different, we're still going to get that striped effect. Should still stand out. I'm just going to go right over here and do this. It's right there. Yeah, so by changing just one color, the mid-tone color, it's doing pretty good. Creating that striped look. Yeah, in there. And again, I'll, where I really want like a light highlight, I'll bring my white into play. But first, I just want to use the colors in this palette to get some nice rich tones. Look at that nice reflective line of light right there. Get that in there. So it's starting to come to life a bit more, which is nice. Another reflective light line. I like reflective light. I think it's fun. That's why I do it so much when I draw grayscale coloring pages. I'm always like, ooh, reflective light. That'd be fun right there. Since I'm down here and the mall stick is placed for this, I'm just going to get this part of the ribbon done real quick. before I move my hand back up there. It is so fun to see how the same color, this pink, looks so different when blended with, a different color. So purple, red, it looks so different. It is such fun to play with color. Look at that. Nice. All right. Of course, I'm going to go back, push my shadows a little bit more. And even this mulberry, mixing it with the red instead of the purple. Such a different look. Right here. While I'm here, make some of these shadows pop too. The nice part when you go back to push shadows and highlights is, it doesn't take a lot. Sometimes just a quick, stroke of the pencil is all you really need. Also, I didn't resharpen this, the mulberry, and that's because I want it to be softer when I go back for this particular part, for pushing my shadows and stuff. I want it to be softer so it blends a bit more easily with the colors I already have down on the paper. Sharp pencil tips make sharp lines, which are fantastic sometimes, but it's not what I want right here. I love this big indentation right there. Going back. Did not resharpen this pencil. I don't want it sharp. I want it nice and soft, especially because it's a red. Pause. Try and not lose track of myself here. Ooh, look at that nice crisp line we got. Nice. So much faster the second time around. Getting in that next layer of color. Down here, let's get this done. So yeah, I don't know. Stripes just seem to have this great effect of enhancing material. The movement of the material, the lighting in it. Can really help that three-dimensional look. So I'm a huge fan of stripes. Also, I like the challenge of, you know, creating that consistency in lighting while you're juggling, you know, several different colors. Because we have the shadow line, but it's going, you know, it's going through purple, red, purple, red. Makes it fun. Almost there. All right. Again, not going to resharpen. I want it soft for blending purposes. So much faster. Second time around. Wow. There we go. Seriously, this is just so fun. I'm having so much fun just coloring these stripes. Which is probably why I'm not talking as much, because I'm enjoying the moment. All right. So, almost there. I am going to push my shadows a bit more across the board, and I'll use my violet, my dark purple color. I mentioned earlier, you know, indigo blue or dark purple. I'm thinking purple. So, just going in, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there. And it can go right in with the red too. I've differentiated the stripes with the purple and red midtones. And since I'm playing with color palettes here, kind of fun to see how the violet will interact with the colors that I have in this ribbon. Making some more crisp shadows there. Need a crisp shadow here, definitely. And with all these layered elements I have, you know, ribbon on top of ribbon on top of ribbon, it is important to make sure your shadows are being used to give that layered look. Otherwise, you just sort of all blend together. And we've got these branches. We're going to do a little of that. Yeah. We needed a touch more shading. To bring this ribbon off the page a little bit more. There we go. Makes a difference. Let's see. I get that. Push a little bit right across the whole thing. Look at that. Darken this line. Really want to make sure that each section here basically can hold its own. As an element in this drawing. Right across, right across. Have a line there, have a line here too. There we go. That's a fun ribbon. All right, real quick, said I would do it. White highlight. Especially where the ribbon would be catching more light. And again, can go right across the stripes, just like I could with that dark purple, which is nice. And it helps that I've layered so many colors already on the ribbon, so the white doesn't really have a choice. It has to blend with the colors, you know, in play here. It can't wash out too much. Can't make anything too, you know, kind of bland. Now here we have some nice ripples going on. So light white, yeah, right there. Right over that line. Ta-da! There's a ribbon. All right, let's pause for a moment. Next. Oh, you could tell I had pencil shavings all over that. Next is, I have to resharpen my Mulberry because I'm using it in every part of this drawing today. That is my personal challenge. Okay, got the Mulberry. Next is fur. And that would be the rabbit. And I thought about this again last night. I swear I don't just do this on the fly. I really do think about it. The night before. I wanted that. Yeah, I wanted these guys. So we've got a lot of bright going on. I thought, you know, a little bit of an earth tone mixed with the Mulberry might be fun. Yeah, these earth tones, what I was going for. Have the Mulberry pulled aside, of course. Totally going to be using you on the furry thing, so get you prepped now. Since I'm in prep mode. Okay. So, again, starting with my personal challenge of the day, using Mulberry in everything. Gonna go. Come on, Mulstick, come with me. And start blocking in some of the darker areas of the fur. I'll use the mulberry as a starting point. And then I have, dark, medium, and light tones here that hopefully will blend well with the mulberry. In my mind, I swear, they blended beautifully. And I'm just laying down where I think some of the darker elements of these fur lines would be. I'm moving with the lines that I already drew for the fur. That'll help maintain lighting. It'll help, create that or maintain that texture. Moving with the pencil lines already there. Look at these bunny toes. I was so excited to draw bunny toes when I was doing this. Like, irrationally excited to draw some cute little bunny toes. It's the little things. I don't often get to draw bunny toes. Alright, so these have more of a swoosh. Wish some of that swoosh going on. That's fun. A hint of more bunny toes back here. Fur is fun in the sense that, each individual strand of fur, is playing with light. It's not a big solid mass, like a leaf or, the berries. Just by nature, fur has a lot of fun movement, a lot of play with lighting. One of the many things I love about drawing animals is how fur can play with lighting. Also, animals are just fantastic models. They're never really shy, never embarrassed about the way they look, none of that silliness. They are what they are, and that's the way it is. I've never heard a bunny say, "Oh, don't make my ears look so long." There are more bunny toes over here. I know because I drew them. Okay. Alright, so use the mulberry in this part of the drawing now as well. Blocked out some nice shadow lines. Get this edge darkened just a little bit more. I think I want it in here too. Can already see that texture starting to come alive a little bit, move a little bit more, start to stand out a little bit more. And I'm not resharpening the mulberry as I go here. I'm kind of going back now that I have a softer tip and really getting a nice sort of soft touch of shading in some of these other parts of the face. Or I think it might be nice to have a little bit more of a soft touch of shadow. I'm trying to hold the pencil very loosely and gently while doing this. It's one of the ways I make sure, just personally, that I don't go too dark too fast. There we go. We got some fun stuff happening there. Next, so I blocked in the mulberry, which was my personal challenge. Now, we're going to see if this blends the way I hoped it would. Just make sure that's not my kids' playgroup. Okay, I love that. Cool. As a mom, I am on call 24/7. Just going to darken some of these shadow lines right around the eyes. When I work in the line or in the eyes, I'll make sure that my pencils are nice and sharp for crisp lines. Right in there. But first, just want to get some crisp shadow accent lines around the eyes. There was I believe he was a French painter, and of course I can't remember his name while I'm doing this, drawing and talking to you at the same time. But he would draw portraits of people, and he would make all the rest of the drawing loose and kind of fuzzy, kind of blurry, very soft and gentle. And then right around the face, and especially the eyes, he would tighten up his brush strokes, his drawing strokes, use more crisp lines. So the face, the eyes were always in a really great sharp focus. And I remember when I was looking at his art, I thought that was just such, a fantastic sort of mental note to take. Was the way that the sharp eyes, could just draw you in, even with the rest of the paintings, a little bit blurry, a little bit fuzzy around the edges and such. Because the eyes were so crisp, it was so easy to still connect with, the subject of the painting. It was so easy to still get drawn into the painting because the eyes still drew you in. That always, kind of stuck with me over the years. If nothing else, make sure those eyes are crisp if you want to really pull people in to your drawing. I'm sure there's some psychological reason for it too. People connect with eyes. Someone looks you in the eye when they're talking to you. It makes a impact. It makes a connection. And that's a lot of what, drawing and coloring is it's a conversation. What's that picture says 1,000 words? It's a story. blending with the mulberry. Good job, dark brown. I'll write down the names, the specific names of all the colors I'm using, just in case anyone is curious what colors I'm using. In the video description, I'll put a nice long list of colors for everyone to reference if they want to. But I am just so happy that that dark brown is stepping up and blending with the mulberry so magically. Yay! Gonna move with those pencil lines still trying to keep those for lighting, for texture. Bunny toes. Get some shadow here. I am just so excited. This dark brown is blending so nicely with the mulberry. Alright, now we gotta get on in here for our darker areas. Mulberry just really isn't a color I would have thought works so well with dark brown. Again, though, I'm just not naturally drawn to that color, so that could be part of that. Working around these branches, of course. Yay! So excited. Alright, so that was the darker one, darkest one. Now I'm going to go with the, I kind of have two colors for my midtone, and I do that a lot with fur. I incorporate a few different colors, just because fur is that many splendored thing that can have many different shades or colors at play. And I am muting it down a bit. This is a very warm gray that I'm using here. But we have a lot of bright colors happening all around. So I'm hoping that visually, you know, just these warm, soft colors, you know, in the center on the rabbit will visually anchor the coloring page, the image, and also make a nice contrast to the other bright colors that we have going on. Bunny toes again. I am just ridiculously happy about coloring in bunny toes for some reason. That. Is when I get in that little corner where that branch is. And there is a lot of overlapping, a lot of complexity and layers that we've got going on here. You know, branches over the bunny, you know, leaves, ribbon. So just remember, it's okay to stop, you know, pause, get your bearings. Okay, so dark, medium. This is the lighter medium. So it's a warm gray again, but it's a lighter warm gray. Just having a little bit of fun. Layering some different colors together. Took a bit of a risk with that mulberry as the shadow or the darker part of this, but it seems to be playing fairly nicely with these other grays, these warm grays that I'm using, which is fantastic. And I'm just going around filling in some of the areas. Not going into all the white of the paper quite yet. At the moment, I'm letting the white of the paper do a little work, you know, serving as the highlight of the fur in certain parts. And that goes back to the whole don't go too dark too fast rule. You know, it's okay to let the white of the paper stand on its own sometimes. While you're coloring. Can always go back and darken when you want to, or where you want to. When is a different matter. If you don't have enough time to fiddle about. Okay, so this is the lighter color. Pretty sure it's beige. Yes, it's beige. So again, I went with a bit more neutral colors in the bunny's fur. And you can see it really is, I mean, look at that great contrast between the bright colors, you know, all around it. And now we just have these very delicate earth tones. Very soft. Get around the eye with some colors there. And it is warm, you know, warm gray, there's a warm brown. Beige is very soft, warm. And that mulberry, let's just pause. That mulberry is a warm, you know, underpainting as well. That was a warm color. So this particular lighter color, I'm putting it right over where the white of the paper is, but it's mostly just softening the whole look. It's blending the midtones that we put down. Connecting them to the lighter part, the highlighted parts. And as long as I move with the lines of the pencil, those fur lines that we had going on, it's just gonna go and reinforce the shadow and the texture. It's just softening the whole overall look. Get that in there. This is a little bit darker, so I don't think I need too much back here, but we'll do a little bit. And over here. Really blend it all together. So, let's see. I'm gonna take that mulberry again, go back, and yeah, gotta resharpen. Just get a little bit more in these shadows, these darker shadows. These lines around the eyes. Mouth, there's a shadow there. These darker lines that I drew. So I'm really just trying to go around now and make sure that the darker parts of the fur, you know, are getting their due diligence. And that'll help bring forward other parts of the fur. So, you know, I do the dark shadow here, that's pushing this whole area back. So then this line really comes forward and pops off the page quite a bit more. It's part of the reason why it's important to kind of push your shadows when you're doing grayscale or layered elements in a drawing. Because that's what will really help it come alive and come off the page a bit more. Just some touches of a little bit darker in there. Since the mulberry is blending so nicely with that dark brown, which I'm so excited about, you know, I'm going to take advantage of it. Always ready to take advantage of a good color combination. This is actually something I do for my own selfish purposes, because I also do custom pet portraits quite a bit. So when I color, you know, I do coloring pages. This is kind of when I'll experiment with different color combinations, you know, figure out how colors will work together, especially in fur. This is, you know, how I improve myself as an artist, and kind of learn to push myself a bit too. Okay. Pushing my shadows even more. Yeah. And I'm just going back wherever I added, you know, a touch more mulberry. And I'm blending with this dark brown, trying to build up a little more texture. Pausing to make sure. Now this edge up here, I have the dark line. The light is coming down like this, so this would really be all in light up here. So I'm just trying to be very, very careful with how much brown I use, darker coloring I use. I'm gonna put in a little bit just to soften this fur line. But I don't want to mess too much with the shadow there, because there really wouldn't be too much shadow there with the light coming from this direction. Get some nice dark fur lines going there. Maintaining this little bit of movement we've got. And I'm not scribbling, you know, to fill in, you know, the entire space. There's individual, you know, furs. There's individual lines. And that's how we're getting that fun texture. These bunny toes are just like my happy place right now. Get on in there. I am blocking out a bit of the shadow here, because I want the branches to stand out. See how the lightness of the branches are standing out against the really darkened areas of the fur. So, you know, for every rule, there's an exception. Right here, I am blocking in the dark because I want these branches to stand out a bit from the whole shebang. See? Again, I am breaking the rule right here. I'm not going with the fur lines. But then I'll blend it so it doesn't look too garish. Get that line. We've got that nice crisp line here. Let's reinforce that just a second. There we go. What we're doing is what we did throughout the whole rest of the drawing, really. You know, building up layers slowly, you know, going round and round, making sure going with this lighter mid-tone, making sure that we have some nice shadows and highlights. Just a minute. I'm a mom on call 24/7. Please hold. There we go. And now I'm just softening up again, you know, with this lighter mid-tone, those shadows. The shadows that we just put down, I'm just going back and softening, blending. Again, it's a bridge between the shadows, the darker shadows, and the highlights. And it does go faster. You know, I've already built up several layers of color, which is basically the foundation. So again, here I'm softening this line a bit, but I'm being careful to not make it, you know, too dark. Pull some fur texture to the edges, but I'm going a little bit slower there. Here we go. Softens the whole thing quite a bit. Again, with the lightest of this palette, just gonna pull the lines. Oh, for crying out loud. There we go. That one's not even my kid. That one's my husband. But he knows my phone is always on, in case the kids need anything at playgroup. They're young. They're 2 and 4. So definitely still in on-call mom mode, which I've been told doesn't really change much. as they get older. So that'll be fun. And now we're really blending and connecting those midtones that we had before. And connecting the midtones with the highlighted areas. Of the fur. And that's going to soften all of this, just that lighter bit. And then I'm going to go with the nose. I did that bit of mulberry right there. Look at that. Softened it right up. Touch of pink for the nose. All right, next, let me reply. I'm going to take the white and go through. And now that right now the white tip is very, very sharp because it was just sharpened. So this is a good time to go right around the eye area and create some nice crisp white lines right around the eye. And crisp lines, again, right around the eye, can really help, you know, pull people into the drawing. Because the eyes are clear, they're in focus. So I really wanted to get that. Then, just gonna create some highlighted areas with my white. And I already did the ribbon. So what I'm gonna do is, you'll see here first, I'm gonna soften the edge of the bunny's fur, and I'm actually gonna pull it down a bit right over the ribbon. Right over those dark shadows I drew in the ribbon. I'm gonna take the white and I'm gonna soften these edges so it really has that fur look. Do that up here too. Right there. Really want to get some highlights going on. This tip of the ear, want to make sure that's highlighted. And I'm gonna go in here into this body where I've got a lot of movement, and I'm basically gonna do some highlighted lines to reinforce that sense of movement in the fur. It's going to blend it a little bit more, and that's okay. Make the tops of these bunny toes pop a little bit more right there. Getting a great fur texture. Let's see, get that in there. Yeah, look at that. Maybe you want the bridge of the nose up here to have a little bit more going on. Nice, right? The eyes, gotta sharpen. Sorry guys, gotta sharpen. Can't not sharpen for eyes. I need crisp lines. Let me see. So I'm gonna use the same colors that I used in the fur for consistency. So that dark and this beige. Want those two in play, and I'm going to want the white. So, got my nice crisp lines. Gonna just go in, and because the fur is in front of the eye a bit, I'm not being too particular about making sure this line where the fur is going over the eye is perfectly smooth, but this outer line here, that's a smooth line, so we're gonna make that smooth. Same with over here. It's a smooth line, but then we have all this fur going over. The inside of that eye is smooth. It's just so much easier when the pencil tip is freshly sharpened and crisp to do all of this. Then light is very reflective, and eyes are very reactive to light. So just trying to stay aware of the shadows and highlights in the eye. It's really just a soft look I'm going for. Again, I want the bunny to be a little bit softer just because there's so much brightness going on. And then for the white, bit of a highlight going on there. Go back again with my dark. Actually, hey, look at this. That'll push the dark. Thank you, Mulberry. There we go. And just like with the berries, I'm gonna take my paint marker, make sure there's paint in it, there is, and dot, dot, dot. Eyes are shiny, so it's okay to have a little bit more fun with some reflective surfaces there. Something else you can do with this, if you're really feeling inspired, I'm expired. I'm tired. Is you can actually do some nice little flecks of white highlight. Wherever the fur should be a little bit brighter. This marker is very good for that. If you just want a little bit of white highlight. It's not a, you know, bright garish white. It's not gonna, you know, take over the whole image. And a delicate touch is definitely all you need. But it can be fun. I did most of this with pencil, so a little bit of mixed media is okay. And I can't resist having a bit of fun. So, also can go over different elements of the drawing with this. So you can go, look at that. Same over here. A nice highlighted line there. And we have these fun movements. We already went over this with the white pencil, so we know it's a highlighted area of the fur. We've already been over it a couple times. We know what the movement is, what the pencil lines are. Where the highlighted areas of the fur are located. And this marker, one of the reasons why I like it is the white that you put down isn't very, it's not very thick. It dries slightly transparent, so you don't lose the under painting, the under layers of color, you know, that we've been working on this whole time. It keeps all of that. It just sort of enhances some of the highlights. And you can do that too. If you don't want it too thick, just take your finger, dab, dab, dab. Of course, then I've got white on my finger for the rest of the day, but that's cool. I usually have paint and marker all over my hands by the end of the day. Dab, 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 just so it's really soft. Dab, 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 really soft. And this highlighted area, we didn't want it to be too bright or too dark. So it's okay. Do this. All right. Well, we used Mulberry in every element of this drawing. I am so excited that I actually did that. That was like a huge challenge for myself for this particular coloring page. I hope you guys had fun practicing a little bit of a color experiment with me. And thank you for joining me in the studio. I'll see you next time. Bye.